Welcome to Out on the Land. Today we travel to the High Plains where we learn about irrigation water efficiencies and corn production.
Out on the Land with Larry Butler is presented by Dow AgroSciences, the range and pasture specialists, and is brought to you in part by Ag Workers Insurance, insuring vehicles of Texas agricultural professionals and their families since 1948, and by McDonald Marketing Communications, specializing in rural lifestyle marketing.
Welcome to Out on the Land. Today we're with David Ford on his farm just out west of Dumas, Texas. David, sure appreciate you having us out here today. How long have you been in this area farming, David?
Well, I grew up just northwest of here over toward Hartley, and my grandparents actually came to this location in 1946 and farmed here. I've been here since 1974. Came home to farm, and at that time we were basically row water on everything and using quite a bit of water to raise our crops at that point. But over the years, as we've been here and seeing what water situation is, Ogallala Aquifer and the situation it's in a declining some, well, we've had to look at better ways to raise our crops. I went from row water to using center pivot irrigation in the early 80s, and have been doing that. We went from sprinkler outlets up on top of the center pivots down to lowering the drops, getting them down closer to the ground, more of a LIPA type situation, and to try and conserve as much water as we can.
As you conserve water, are you maintaining yields?
Yeah, in fact, in some cases we've actually increased yields. Really, probably since I came home in '74, we're using half the water we were at that point to raise a bushel of corn. Yields are probably higher now than they were then because of some of the technology, not only in the farming operation, but in seed varieties and the genetics that's been put into them. But we're raising more corn on half the water than when I came home in '74.
Well, that's great. Anybody can relate to that.
Exactly.
Half of what you were using, that's got to be not only a water savings, but an energy savings as far as pumping the water and that sort of thing. Well, so I understand that the North Plains Groundwater Conservation District has started a project they call 212. Could you explain that a little bit?
It's a project that came about 3 to 4 years ago to try to figure out what our production could be with using less water. It's back 4 years ago, before this project came along, when we were getting some type of an average rainfall, I could raise 200 plus with 12 inches of water. We've unfortunately the last 3 years we've kind of had a drought that's created some problems, but not only have we, with the genetics, we've changed up a lot of our farming operation on how we do things versus when I came home nearly 30 years ago or so. We've gone to strip tilling. I went to strip till about 8 years ago, and basically we till just a small area that we're going to put the seed in instead of plowing the entire ground. We try to leave as much organic matter on top of the soil as we can, and that has also helped the 212 project by decreasing wind erosion, decreasing evaporation. With the organic matter on the soil, it conserves water itself.
Sure. So 212 refers to 200 bushel corn with 12 inches of water. Well, I think that's pretty easy to explain to folks. when you're only disturbing that strip that you're going to be placing the seed in, and you're leaving the organic matter, I think everybody can relate to that, even the home gardener and flower beds. Mulch is what they use.
Exactly.
Same thing, you're just leaving the mulch that you grew from previous crops on the ground.
Right.
And that's keeping some of that moisture in there, keeping that soil from having the moisture evaporate out. And then the moisture's available for your corn crop.
Right, right, and that does a couple of things. Wintertime, where you've got the organic matter still standing, if we get any snow, even and a lot of times in this area it's a blowing snow, that'll help stop it and catch it in the field, and then we take advantage of that winter moisture.
What crops do you grow? What kind of residue are you planting into?
We're planting into corn stubble from the previous year. Where we've raised wheat, usually we will spray that during the summer, keep the weed population down, and then we'll strip till back through the wheat stubble and leave it for the winter. And also with our cotton, I introduced cotton to the program, to our operation 4 years ago, because it does use less water. It can get by on less water. Cotton will respond to less water at the right time better than any other crop we've got. And we'll strip till back in through our cotton stalks, leave them, and that also keeps the wind erosion down in the spring.
Yeah, so you're doing the strip till on any crop that you've had out there before?
If we don't have other problems, we're pretty much strip tilling everything.
Well, one of the important things about what you're doing with the strip tillage as well as the changing in your irrigation technologies is saving of money. And when you have that direct cost come off the operation, you wouldn't really have to produce as much corn as maybe you once did with a higher cost. So bottom line is very important, as well as the conservation of the water.
Well, especially as high as diesel fuel has gotten, you know, the tractor that this planter's hooked to, it's about $1,500 every time you fill it, and that tank will run about 2 days. So it's getting to where the economics is very apparent, and we've got to try to keep from making as many trips across the field as we can. And when I came home, it was nothing for the area. It was a matter of lots of times guys would plow the stubble in maybe twice, rip it once, come back, plow it a couple more times, then run a field cultivator across, then bed up, and then finally get around to planting. And with strip till, I can pretty well, once we leave with the combine, come back, strip till, put the fertilizer in and till that strip. We come back with the planter and plant, and basically we've got 2 trips in it before we have to harvest again.
Well, with the 212 project, are you seeing more people in this area go towards these new technologies?
Farming is it's a changing playing field all the time, and for the farmers that are still here today, the reason most of us are still here is because we're trying to adapt to change. The farmers of all people, we understand the source we have, how precious it is, and what we need to do to keep it. And so that's why I've changed up a lot of my farming operation, the way we do things to conserve moisture, to conserve fuel and energy.
Stay with us. More from 3F Farms after the break.
Closed captioning for Out on the Land is provided by Triple L Ranch, taking the best of the Angus and Hereford to produce black Herefords.
This is yours, and so is what grows there. Not theirs or theirs, yours. You need this to fight this and this to grow more this. Because the more of this you feed them, the less this you spend on that, which leaves more of this here. Don't let them take this from you. Chaparral takes care of weeds and brush, and that's that.
When you need a fence to keep your cattle and game in and unwelcome visitors out, choose the superior fence that is tough. Choose Stay Tough. Fixed, not designed. Deep crimp, high tensile wire, durable, long-lasting, and easy to install. With its heavy-duty galvanized coating, Stay Tough also successfully fights off all challenges from nature, too. Rest assured, Stay Tough meets and exceeds the highest industry standards. Give us a call or visit our website. Choose Stay Tough. Simply a superior fence.
Well, David, you've got that underground drip tape on 30-inch centers here in this field?
Yes, we put it in this spring.
And this is Adam Ford that's joined us, and Adam's got a probe. Adam, why don't you show us what we can find out with that probe?
Okay. Well, here's the tape about right here is the center of one line.
Okay, that's the center of a line there. Goes in the ground really well, nice and mellow soil.
Yes, sir. Here's
That-
about the.
That should be the middle of the tape, between tape, shouldn't it, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Show us what that's going to do.
A little drier start.
A little drier for sure.
So we're down to about 3 foot. In between.
All right, went to 3 foot, and we sure cleaned the mud off of that, didn't we? We got it all dry. Well, let's take a look with the sharpshooter, and I'll just dig down a little bit here. You know, we had a little bit of rain, about 2/10 last night, and so there's a little bit of mud here on the surface, but it doesn't take you long to look at that. That's pretty dry right there.
we get the dry
So
quick.
we're sure not wasting any irrigation water by watering in the middles.
No.
So as we come over, that was about right here where that tape is.
Yeah, pretty close.
So that went in pretty easy. But still, we even see that right here we've got the surface moisture from last night, just right here in this first ½ inch. And then below that, you know,
We've got dry right in here,
yes,
and
we
then
got some
now,
dry. Moisture's picking up from
now
down
we're
below,
picking
isn't
up
it?
moisture from the tape there.
So that tape's down there about 12 inches.
Yeah.
And so we're watering up, and as this goes on, as you get the corn all planted and in the ground, and the corn's coming up, right now you can see some wet spots where the water has come to the surface.
Yes.
But as those plants begin to grow, they'll be using that water up.
Yeah,
and
once
you won't be wasting it.
once we get the crop in the ground, and the root system grows, it'll start intercepting that moisture and go down, and follow the moisture down coming out of the tape. Right now we're watering to try to get the top moist enough that when we come in here with the planter, that we can put the seed in the moisture where it'll germinate and start growing.
Well, David, I know that changing technologies is always a challenge to learn new things, and seems like though once this is in the ground, it's pretty easy to deal with, except maybe that psychological thing about not being able to see your water.
Yeah, you know, we've had the well running out here for about 2 to 3 weeks, and you don't see any water in the air, you don't see anything coming out of a sprinkler, but we are starting to see little areas where the ground is starting to get wet. The other deal is just the cost that comes with any of these changes. And you know, if you look around at the soil top out here, there's not near the organic matter on it that I would like to have, but because of all we had to do to put the drip in, to get it down deep enough, we had to till the ground a lot more than we wanted. After we get this in and running, I'm hoping to go to no-till, which we will leave a lot of organic matter on top, but it's a little more bare than I would like to have it, but to be able to put the drip in, that's just what you have to do.
When we come back, we'll meet Mike Caldwell with the NRCS.
Insuring vehicles of Texas agricultural professionals and their families since 1948. Annual dividends, affordable rates, excellent customer service. We are Ag Workers Mutual Auto Insurance Company.
Tired of the same old unproductive deer feed? Then it's time for total change. More reproduction, better development, faster growth. Made with the best extruded bioavailable nutrients formulated for total results. Be informed. TotalFeeds.com.
Insuring vehicles of Texas agricultural professionals and their families since 1948. Multiple auto discounts, homeowners policies, and more. We are Ag Workers Mutual Auto Insurance Company. To learn more, call 1-800-772-7424 or visit agworkers.com.
We're joined now out on the David Ford farm by Mike Caldwell, the District Conservationist for USDA's Natural Resource Conservation Service. Welcome, Mike, to Out on the Land.
Thank you, Larry. It's good to be here.
Well, I know in your job with the NRCS, you work with all the landowners here in the county and the Conservation District that wish to work with NRCS. Tell us a little bit about what kind of general agriculture we'd find here in the county.
We're pretty intensive in our irrigation up here. We've got a lot of sprinklers, and irrigation is the lifeblood for this area.
Well, sure, and more farmers are going to want to go to the water-saving irrigation techniques, I'm sure. David mentioned to us that, you know, farming and saving water go hand in hand for the farm operations, and also it's good for society as a whole. And it's a little tough for farmers to put all this in by themselves.
It is.
And so NRCS has some good programs, EQIP for instance.
Well, Larry, EQIP is the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, and there's several different facets of that program, but we use that program up here to provide financial assistance for these farmers and ranchers up here to help them put in conservation practices. And it's been a really good program for several years, and a lot of the farmers and ranchers have taken advantage of it. One of the main emphasis up here is on irrigation practices. A lot of this country was row watered for years and years, and we've gone to center pivot sprinkler irrigation, and in the last few years we've put in a lot of subsurface drip irrigation. And we've done a lot of practices to help conserve water and improve the efficiency on these farms. These sprinklers that we've got now, we're probably getting in the neighborhood of somewhere around 90% efficiency. And even with the drip irrigation, we may be hitting the 95 or 96% efficiency. And the part that's good about it is we're getting those good efficiencies, but these farmers are trying different techniques and different management strategies to use that water and try to save as much and not use as much as they have in the past.
Well, good. Well, tell us a little bit about how a farmer or a rancher or any landowner that might be interested in participating in a program, what would be the process that they would go through?
A lot of times it's a voluntary process, but we do let the farmers know that we're having a sign up for the EQIP, and usually we don't have to advertise it too bad. They'll come in to us because a lot of them know that we're here. We've been in the county and worked with these guys for years and years, and they know that they can come to us for that technical assistance, and we can help them out to help put in these practices that they're needing.
And you can get technical assistance without getting financial assistance.
Absolutely. We're there all the time for that. If somebody wanted to come in and just had a problem, and they do, we can provide that voluntary technical assistance to them.
Well, Mike, I really appreciate you taking time to be out here for a few minutes this morning and tell us more about the NRCS and what they're doing on farms like David's here. So thanks again for being with us out on the land.
Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it.
We'll be right back with more from Out on the Land.
Still to come, we'll introduce you to the General Manager of the North Plains Groundwater Conservation District. Don't go away.
This is yours, and so is what grows there. Not theirs or theirs, yours. You need this to fight this and this to grow more this. Because the more of this you feed them, the less this you spend on that, which leaves more of this here. Don't let them take this from you. Chaparral takes care of weeds and brush, and that's that.
I'm Dr. Harry Anderson, and I've been helping you with your nutritional needs for over 43 years. Total People Plus was carefully developed over 7 years ago and will help people just like you feel more energy, alertness, and focus. Plus, it's all natural. Buy TotalPeople.com.
Folks, we're joined by Steve Waltauer. He is the General Manager of the North Plains Groundwater Conservation District. Welcome to Out on the Land, Steve.
Nice to be here.
Well, good. Tell us a little bit about what the North Plains Groundwater Conservation District is doing.
Well, we're a groundwater conservation district. We're one of about 95 in Texas, and what we're doing out here is doing demonstration projects on how to provide groundwater or safe groundwater for the future. And the people that are involved in our demonstrations are local farmers, and we've been doing this project for about 4 years now.
Well, David mentioned to us a project called 212, and that's one of your projects. What kind of participation do you have in that?
Well, we're excited about the participation. This 212 project is a demonstration with 12 local farmers that are applying soil conservation methods, strip tilling, plant conservation methods, irrigation methods to their farm, and trying to keep some water in the ground for the future.
I know that the conservation that you're putting in is to save water that's in the Ogallala Aquifer. Tell us a little bit about the status of the Ogallala.
The aquifer is declining, and we're trying to slow that decline out and spread the future of the Ogallala over a much longer period of time than what we have projected today.
Okay. How does your district interact with farmers on a day-to-day basis? Are there water metering devices? Are there measurements? Tell us a little bit about your activities on farms.
Well, Larry, our board is made up of farmers, and as you know, in different states, there are different ways to manage groundwater. In the state of Texas, we manage water locally through groundwater conservation districts, and our board is committed to maintaining that local control by managing our groundwater resources, which is primarily the Ogallala.
Okay, and so all the users of that water need to file a report each year, is that correct?
Yes, all the farmers that irrigate with water file a report, along with all the public water suppliers and municipal utilities and industrial users in our district. Along with the regulatory requirements that we have implemented as a district, we also are a conservation district, so a lot of the programs that we have, including these demonstration projects, are there to help farmers use their water better and continue to keep them in business for a long time to come.
So are you sponsoring, as a district, are you sponsoring conservation tours for the farmers in your district?
Yeah, we, through our 212 program and our demonstration projects, we'll have several field days associated with them. We also will have field days with our research field at Eder for the similar things on conservation. Our district also sponsors with the USDA a program that covers almost the entire panhandle from here all the way down south of Lubbock, part of a conservation innovation grant that we initiated a year ago.
and you're working with Texas Tech and Texas A&M's AgriLife Extension folks. What's their involvement?
Well, Texas Tech and Texas AgriLife Extension folks have provided us research and personnel, also methods of implementing the program and some organizational activity as far as putting these programs in place.
Well, that's great. I appreciate you being out here with us today. If someone wanted to learn a little bit more about your district, where would they go on the internet to do that?
You can get us at www.northplainsgcd.org.
Well, thanks a lot for coming out here to the farm today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for being here.
Well, folks, that wraps up this show. We'll see you again next week out on the land.
Next week, we travel to Oklahoma to visit a cattle ranch and also learn about lesser prairie chickens.
Out on the Land with Larry Butler is presented by Dow AgroSciences, the range and pasture specialists, and is brought to you in part by Ag Workers Insurance, insuring vehicles of Texas agricultural professionals and their families since 1948. And by McDonald Marketing Communications, specializing in rural lifestyle marketing.